Hey kids, Goodly Grandparents here. So you may have noticed that we haven't had a video out for about 3 weeks. And here's why.
We've been busy.
We've been busy. Okay, that's it. So enough said. No, so ironically, in the winter time is when things really slow down on the farm. But because things have been slower on the farm, we've been trying to take care of a lot of other things, doctor's visits, a lot of planning, a lot of preparation, a lot of infrastructure development, as well as acquiring new enterprises for the next year. So we've actually been really busy the last 3 weeks. And then in addition, the weather has been a little bit rough. It's been really rainy, so it's been hard to get out and do interesting things that would look good on camera. So I didn't want to take my camera out in the rain. So we have a lot of excuses why we haven't done anything in the last 3 weeks. But what we want to do now is just catch you up on what we have been doing, fill you in on some of the planning that we've done, and show you some new additions to the farm. So let's do that. So one of the things that we did was we ordered the trees for our orchard. What kind of trees did we get?
We got some cherries, some apple, pecan.
In the south, it's pecan. So yeah, so we got 4 varieties of apples: Honeycrisp, Anne, Granny Smith, and I can't remember.
Is it like Gala or something? I don't know.
I don't remember either. It might have been Gala. Anyway, one thing I learned is that in order to pollinate most fruit trees, like a Gala can't pollinate to another Gala, so you need another variety of tree to encourage pollination or to provide pollination. So we had to get a mix of varieties of apples so that our trees would pollinate. So we got 4 varieties of apples, 2 varieties of cherries, and 3 varieties of pecans.
And they get big.
They get really big, yeah. And one thing we learned is that pecans are native to almost this area. So it's a Native American nut tree, and it's native to the Mississippi Valley. So it would be native to an area even just like 50 miles west of us here. So we're essentially in the native habitat for pecans. They do really well here. So in 300 years we'll have some big pecan trees, and I'm really excited about that. 300 years?
Something like that.
Probably more like 7 years. Okay. All right, so what we're going to do with the pecans is we're going to, our orchard is going to go up on that hill right there. So it's a well-drained area, accessible to the farm. So you can see it's actually just right close to our house here. There's the house. There's all Karen's blankets hanging up.
Those are from the dogs.
What are they from?
The dogs.
Here, I'll get the blankets in the shot.
Yeah, they were in a kennel, and now we got them a doghouse. But while they're in the kennel, I had these blankets, and I had to wash them because they couldn't hold it.
Oh.
But now I'm glad they have their doghouse because I don't have to wash the blankets.
She doesn't have to come out here in the rain and the ice and hang the blankets up to dry. What she was doing is hanging them up and letting the rain wash them off.
Yeah.
So I thought that was clever. Anyway, right there is the hill that's going to be our orchard. So the trees should arrive in the spring, and then we'll have a nice task of planting our orchard. So Goodly child number 1, you're going to come and visit us in the spring. We might have some work for you to do when you get here. So one of the things that we've been doing is preparing for our garden this year. We're going to expand quite a bit from what we did last year. If you remember last year, we arrived on the farm in August and just kind of randomly threw out some seeds that we thought we'd like. Some of them worked, some of them didn't. This year we're trying to plan more carefully, expand our growing variety, and just start to take more careful notes on what works and what doesn't. We've also decided to get some of the plants started in the greenhouse. Now when I say greenhouse, what I really mean is our front porch. This is our front porch. and you can see it's all enclosed with windows all along it. So although it's not technically a greenhouse, it really functions like one. It's about 32 degrees outside today, but in here it's probably about 70 degrees. So we think that as we approach spring, this will get warm enough to serve as a greenhouse until we can build one proper. So what I've been doing is first of all, I've just been doing a lot of studying on farming vegetables. So I've been reading a couple of really great books on that. We placed our seed order, so we have all of our seeds in and ready to go, and I've been just trying to map out when everything needs to be planted, where it's going to go, what special things need to happen. For example, do some of the seeds need to be started in the greenhouse and which are just going to be direct seeded in the garden. Then we picked up a lot of equipment. We picked up, for example, a heat mat to warm the seeds as they're germinating here in the greenhouse. And then I picked up a bunch of seeding flats and trays. So this is a solid bottom tray so the water doesn't leak out. Here's a germination tray. Here are a couple of seeding flats so that we can transplant into the garden. Here's a little, like a dome that goes over the top to retain moisture and help with the germination. And we just got some other various supplies as well. I also ended up driving about 2 hours to go pick up a silage tarp from a company that's, well, about 2 hours away from me. So I was able to pick up the silage tarp, and what I'll do is I'll tarp out a place off to the side of my garden where I'm going to begin my market garden. So the silage tarp will kill out all the grass that's growing there, allow a warm, dark, moist environment for the weed seeds to germinate, and then because it's covering the ground, it will crowd out, or rather just shade out any seeds that grow, so it'll kill out all the weed seeds. So we'll be starting to plant and germinate seeds here in the greenhouse. Probably, I think we're going to start a few plants mid-February. Most of that will happen in March. And then in April, we'll be planting in the garden. So Goodly Grandma, we bought some chickens on January 2nd they were born. Why did we have to get chicks?
Well, because some dog ate our other chickens.
Dog or?
Could be a coyote or a half coyote.
I don't think there's such a thing as a half coyote.
Well, our neighbor that's lived here in Saltillo forever says there is.
Yeah, well, if you're watching this, I'm skeptical. But maybe you're right. He's been living here a lot longer than me. I think it was probably coyotes that did it. We had coyote sightings out on our field, right out there in the distance. We saw coyotes out there.
But the dog we saw the next day looked like a dog, so that's why I think it's a half coyote.
All right. So we may never know. Anyway, we have our chicks brooding in here. This is our normal brooder. So let's check on them and see how they're doing. They are, what's today? They're a little over 3 weeks old. You can see they're feathering. Let's get in here so you can see them. They're feathering out nicely. They're getting big. So what do we have in here? We have Easter eggers, we have Buff Orpingtons, and we have Red Rangers. And I have one Cuckoo Moran. He is my rooster. Which one is he? I'm trying to find him. Oh, I think he's that one right there. That's my rooster. So we'll keep an eye on him. So anyway, they're getting big. They're growing. Maybe another 2 weeks before they go out with the other chickens. Oh, the other chickens are coming out to say hi. Those are our 3 survivors. I haven't been really letting them free range for a couple of reasons. It's been kind of miserably cold and wet, but also because,
they've been out a few times.
They've been out a few times.
The dogs have been pretty nice to them.
Oh, yeah, the dogs are okay, but we let the puppies out, and the puppies are still trying to figure out what to do with chickens. So we want to train the dogs to protect the chickens, not to play with them. But anyway, they've been in here. They're not cooped up just in this little thing. You'll see there's a little tunnel that they go through there, and they can go into this whole chicken run over there. So they have room to get out and exercise. All right, our puppies are also growing and developing, so we've got them keep them locked up because they're young puppies.
They're getting big.
But-
So the doghouse too.
Okay, well, let's look at the puppies. They want to say hi to Mama, and now this is little Ann.
Hi, Dan.
That's old Dan over there.
Hi, Ann.
Yep, so they kind of stay in this little enclosure. This is my chicken area. That's the door to the chicken coop. We got them a big old igloo dog house, which keeps them nice and warm.
And then show what they were in. They're in this thing.
Oh, I don't need to show them that.
Yeah. But they got too big. They
We
got
had,
too scrunched.
I'm not bragging about that. All right. Hey, they're attacking me. All right, little Ann. I'll give you a pat. There you go. And little old Dan, there's a pat for you. Little Ann and old Dan. So they're getting big.
Hi! Thank you!
So their job is to be livestock guardian dogs. Their job is to guard the goats. There's Blue. Hi, Blue. There's Toffee. There's Licorice. There's Oreo and Fudge. So they're doing about the same. They haven't really changed much. So one thing, Karen, what did we do this week that was kind of interesting about goats?
We went to see if we could find a male goat.
A male goat, a
Breed.
buck?
Yeah, buck.
A buck used to be known as billies, but modern nomenclature says they're bucks now. So we went and we found a buck that we really liked. But it turns out that she had what's called sore mouth in her herd. So it's a virus, kind of like canker sores or cold sores. I just didn't want to. It's not a huge deal, but I didn't want to introduce it into my herd. So I, in the end, have decided not to get that buck. And if I couldn't get that buck right away, if I could get a buck like right now, I would get one and breed the goats so they could have their kids, in roughly May. But it's starting to get too late in the year. So if I can't get one now, I'll probably wait until the summer to get a buck. And this is exciting. I don't know if, can you see that? A cow says, moo. Let's go talk about number one.
Hey, come.
Here, don't chase the cow away. Don't chase the cow away. I want to get him on film. Hey, one. All right, can I come over and see you? Now, number one, she's a little shy. We've only had her for a few days. She's a heifer calf that we picked up. She is a Dexter cow. A Dexter cow is a heritage breed out of Ireland. Hey, little Ann. Little Ann. No, don't chase the cows. So I can come up and touch her. Usually it takes some grain to get her to come to me. She was born in August of 18. I call her number one because she's my first cow on the field. You may have noticed I do have other cows, but they don't belong to me. So I've asked the man who owns those other cows to get them off the field in the spring. So he has about a month and a half to remove those. I've got deposits on 4 other calves. And then I'm in negotiations with a gentleman. He's an older man. I think he's 75 years old, and he has a herd of Dexters So I'm negotiating with him to buy his whole herd. So I could end up with about 21 Dexter cows, including 2 bulls, and then I will be able to begin my grazing enterprise. So meet number 1. She is a Dexter heifer calf, born in August of 2018. You'll see she has a halter on her. She is halter trained. So I took the rope off the halter because she was tripping on it, and I just didn't want her to have to deal with that right now. So she just hangs out here with the goats, and her name is number 1. All right, let's see what we have here. All right, don't lick my lens. What you doing there? One, huh? All right. What you doing, dogs? Oh, they're eating cow poop. That's fun. Hey, stop eating cow poop. Get out there. Come on. Come on. I don't like it. I don't think it's... Come on, Ann. So another thing that we've been doing the last 3 weeks is we've been talking with the owner of the land next to our farm. It's hard to see here, but along this ridge here is the edge of the property next to us. There's 133 acres next door that we've been talking about buying, adding that to our farm. So we've been out looking at it, thinking about it, trying to decide whether or not we want to do that. It actually goes all the way out to this ridge over here as well. So all the way around over there. So one of the advantages that gives us is it gives us better control of the water on our farm. Over in this area over here, there's I don't know, half a dozen springs over there that produce a lot of the water that comes down into our rivers at the bottom here, our creeks. There's also opportunities to build ponds over there and to clear out a lot of the trees. You can see if you look closely back up in here, there's a lot of green. He's planted a lot of pine in there. So he had logged out most of that property and replanted with pine trees. So that would give us an opportunity to clear out that pine and create more pasture for grazing a larger herd of cattle, as well as, you know, opportunities to build ponds to water the cattle and so forth. So that could have a big impact on what we do here on Goodley Farms. So I just wanted to let you know that's something that we are discussing as well. So that's what we're working on this week.
Hey, no. Oh, yeah, no. That's just like food camping. We can't have plastic.
So one thing that I've been doing is on cold days when it's raining outside, I've been coming into the shed and putting together my beehive kits. I could only do that when the weather was warm enough for the glue to set, but it kept me busy.
Yeah, it was a lot of work. There were all these teeny tiny pieces, and he had to glue each one together and build it, but it looks pretty good. He did a good job.
All right, so here are the beehives that I built. I got 2 of them. The bees don't come until, well, they ship on April 1st. So early in April we'll have bees. So we'll set them out in the field, install the bee packets. I need to pick up things like the bee suit and the smoker and just stuff like that, all the beekeeping gear. But until then, at least we have the hives assembled and ready to go. All right, so that's what we've been doing for the past 3 weeks. That's our list of excuses for not having posted more videos. But we'll try to do better. We actually have a lot of stuff coming up. So
See you next time.
stay tuned.